Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? I'm Immortal MMA. Now, this video is coming out a little bit late, but I did watch UFC Fight Night, Kape vs Horiguchi. Man, if y'all haven't seen, here's a picture of my picks. I didn't do a video on it, but I did post this before I watched the fights, before the fight started, on my Instagram and on my YouTube. Well, let's just say the big Gooch got touched by the Gyno King, Kape himself, and man, like Horiguchi was doing so good. He was doing so good. The first round was close, but in my opinion, I thought Horiguchi definitely won the first round. I know some of the tweets online were giving Kape the first round. I really thought that Horiguchi had the better first round, because even though he got sort of stumbled on one shot, I thought he got off basically the same amount of damage on Kape and just looked all around better. But I could definitely see it going Kape's way. But then the second round happened, and Horiguchi was outstriking him. He was doing so good. He got it on the ground, and then he was working on the ground, laying some decent ground and pound. You know, it wasn't anything like crazy, but towards the end of the round, he started getting some better ground and pound off. And then the third round started, and he checks Kape's kick and makes him fall down for a bit. And then he even stumbles Kape. I forget if it was the third round or the second round where he stumbled Kape, but he stumbled him somewhere in this fight a little bit. Horiguchi was doing so well. He was doing so well. But then he extended into I believe it was a 3-punch combination and got caught by the Gyno King Kape. But we are here to go over the entire card, not just the main fight. And I'll get into more details about this fight later and what it can mean for the future. Let's go all the way down from the first fight. Shane Collins versus Otari Tanzalavi. So Shane Collins, I figured I would pick him. I didn't know much about either one of them other than the opponents that I had beaten. And Otari's loss to Josias Musasa just was not the best look for me. So I thought, Shane Collins is this undefeated guy going against Otari, and he would pull through. And what do you know? Shane Collins gets it done by clear striking advantage. And for some reason, this guy Otari, I don't know what the corner was telling him. I don't know what Marab was trying to spew to him, hey, you shoot takedown and you win the fight. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. Shane Collins completely destroyed him in the striking. He had way more volume. None of the strikes that Otari really landed had a crazy effect. Shane was just ripping body shots, and all Otari had was the takedown. And even then, with his grappling, here's the thing. And, I haven't seen anyone say that Otari won this fight, but when it comes to grappling, just grabbing someone and taking them down, that does not win you a fight. Effective grappling is not based on getting a takedown and holding someone down. Sure, if nothing else is happening in the fight, if nothing at all else is happening in the fight, obviously that'll win you the fight. But if it's oh, you're getting takedowns on people, but then the person is getting up and then striking back at you and hitting you with more volume, obviously the guy striking is gonna win, because effective damage and effective grappling are the highest criteria. And effective grappling is not just taking someone down and holding them, not advancing position, not trying submissions, not doing ground and pound. This guy was never going to win trying to implement his method of just holding Shane Collins down and doing absolutely nothing on the ground. He had literally no submission attempts. Look, Shane Collins had the submission attempts. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why did this guy act like he was robbed or something at the end of the fight where he held his hands up? Maybe he was gesturing that to be oh well, my bad, I didn't give a good performance. But to me, it looked like he was surprised that he lost, and I was like, what is this dude smoking? Obviously you lost. Look at the stats. Look at the stats, and not even the stats, but the visual. You were getting backed up against the fence, getting cracked to the body and everything. All you could do was shoot takedowns. That was never going to get you the win. And I bet, he went to the corner every single time. Marab was just there. Hey, shoot more takedowns! Shoot more takedowns! Marab, he can't shoot that many takedowns. He's not you. He doesn't got the cardio like that. He can't shoot 40 takedowns. He can't drown him in the takedowns. Come on, Marab. Nah, but all jokes aside, this was a really good fight. It was back and forth, but Shane Collins obviously had much more pressure and much more volume. Moving on, Carol Rosa versus Luna Santos. This fight was absolute garbage. This fight was buns. This fight was buns. Now, look. It wasn't like, okay, like, see, this is deceptive. You see 126 to 110, and then it's only a 3-round fight, and you're like, man, they must have been going to war. They must have been going to war. No, no. Luana Santos literally just held her for 3 rounds. Here's the thing, like, yes, I picked Karol Rosa to win, so I'm sad that I got the pick wrong, but that's not even why I'm like, this was the most boring thing ever. You know, a while ago when I said that effective grappling has to be, you know, you hunting for submissions, you hunting for transitions and ground and pound and all of that, and only if nothing else is happening are you going to win with control time. That was basically this fight. I know the striking is deceptive. They didn't like go this back and forth crazy striking pace. No, they're doing like little pitter patter shots, and it was just Luana Santos holding on to Karol Rosa on the ground and on the cage and just stalling out basically. I just stopped after the first round. I just looked away from the fight. Every now and then I would just look back up to see what was going. It was the same stuff. I was literally just scrolling on Instagram. That was what I was doing. Like, this fight was not good. This fight was not good. Going onward. Leon Shabazian. I feel bad for this guy. And also, is it just me, or does he kind of look like Mr. Bean's actor when he was in Johnny English Reborn? You know, editing me, put a picture. Like, does it not look like him? Does it not look like that? I mean, just look at the stats. This is so sad. I feel bad when this happens to fighters, because it's like, man, imagine you're working in camp, you're doing all this stuff, and you've had all these fights outside of the UFC to build yourself up, and then you get in the UFC, and then you get finished in the first 23 seconds of your first fight in the UFC by a body shot to the liver. I feel so bad for this guy. This was a crazy good performance by Levin Chikoli. That body shot was nasty. I could feel that body shot. I could feel that liver shot. Oh my goodness. You could just see the pain. This was over really fast, but just in this amount of time, like, I am excited to see Levin Chikoli. And I know, like, Leon Shabazian, he isn't this crazy competitor, but he just got dealt with in 23 seconds. And this guy just looked so good. I'm really excited to see what happens moving forward with him. And yeah, it was a nasty liver shot. Moving on. Gaston Bolaños versus Michael Aswell Jr. Man, I don't know why I didn't do it. I was going to pick Gaston Bolaños. And I know that's crazy to say. He was such a big underdog. Look at these numbers. But I was legitimately, I'm not even lying to y'all. I was going to originally pick Gaston Bolaños until I saw the numbers. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Even though I was going to pick Gaston as a great underdog, I have to go with Michael Aswell Jr. because the numbers, I don't know, why was I influenced by the numbers? Future me, never pick by the numbers again, because I was literally going to pick Gaston Bolaños, and what do you know? Gaston Bolaños does it. And this was not a robbery. The people screamed this was a robbery. It was not a robbery. I thought it was pretty clear Gaston Bolaños. People say, oh, Michael Aswell Jr., he had more strikes than him. That doesn't mean that he won the round. Just because you have more strikes than someone doesn't mean that you won the round. If Gaston Bolaños had the better strikes of the round, he wins the round. Guess what? Gaston Bolaños had the better strikes of the round in the first and the second, and that is how it worked out. He won the first and second, he lost the third really clearly, and he gets the win. And I should have picked him as the gigantic underdog that he was, that I knew he could definitely win this. I'm kicking myself right now because it's like, if you are a watcher of me, if you have seen my other videos, I pick a lot of underdogs. I've picked some good underdogs in some of my cards, and this was I was literally gonna go for him as a gigantic underdog, and I would let the numbers influence me. Let that be a lesson. Don't ever trust the numbers, because I was going for him, and I just switched. I switched last minute before I posted my card. I should have just went with him. That would have been such a good pick because he was such a big underdog. But yeah, he gets it done. He outstrikes Michael Aswell Jr. Michael Aswell Jr., he has a lot of volume, but not that much power, and that's really what it came to. He wasn't really able to hurt Gaston Bolaños until, like, the third round, really. And his pace just kind of died out in the second round a lot, and ultimately, it was just not enough. And his striking, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's obviously, these are, like, professional fighters. Obviously, they're, like, much better than me at everything. But at the same time, the technique of his strikes, a lot of those strikes, he was just wildly throwing it out. You could tell that even if any of these strikes were landing, it wasn't going to do a crazy amount of damage. Going upward to Alan Nascimento versus Mitch Raposo. Another fight that I didn't really see. Like, a lot of people were saying, and you know, it was a split decision. A lot of people were saying that Mitch Raposo lost and that Alan Nascimento won. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And here's the thing, you know that I'm not biased because I literally picked Alan Nascimento to win this. But, you know, and even though he obviously clearly struck him, the third round, this was like, look, 63 strikes. All of his strikes came in the third round. The third round, he destroyed Mitch Raposo, right? The third round was the clearest round out of all of them. I thought the other two were clear enough to be like, okay, Alan Nascimento, obviously, he lost the third round horrendously. The first and second, he easily won. I mean, Mitch Raposo. Okay, wait. Don't take that out of context. I meant Mitch Raposo. Mitch Raposo won the first two rounds, and then Alan Nascimento destroyed Raposo in the third round. But, you know, big mistake, big mess up. The strikes were even if this is incorrect, because I know sometimes it'll say, like, 0 submission attempts, even though someone did, like, 40 submission attempts. But even if the strikes were not completely the same in the second round, this was the swing round, really. This was the swing round, was the second round. I believe the first round was pretty clearly for Mitch Raposo, and then the second round was the swing round. I don't see how you score it for Alan Nascimento. Mitch Raposo had the better shots. And again, based on the criteria, based on judging criteria, not just, oh, I think this person did better in this, and this. Based on the scoring criteria laid out for the judges to judge these fighters on. And you know, I don't even know if they know sometimes what the scoring criteria is. Sal D'Amato. Literally just him. It's always him. I don't know if they know this, but cumulative strikes are not counted as much as instant strikes that affect the fight. Like, the fight is affected more scoring based, you know, by the strikes that do the most damage, the strikes that have the most impact to finish the fight. Those are counted more than cumulative strikes. Now, there's obviously, like, arguments, you know, how many strikes do you have to accumulate before it kind of equals the same amount of pointage given to you by strikes that, you know, instantly impact the fight? That's something to argue. If it's, okay, someone had like 20 strikes in one round and the other guy had 50, but the guy with 20 hit some really nice strong strikes, but the guy with 50, obviously he has like twice as many strikes. Like, something like that I could see. But when it's this close in striking, Alan Nascimento didn't land that much more than Mitch Raposo in the second round to where it could be, okay, I can see the argument. Like, no, Mitch Raposo had the better strikes, and that wins him the fight. Alan Nascimento, he just didn't use his length, like, really well. He didn't really hit Mitch with any crazy strikes. He didn't really use his legs to his advantage too much. He didn't really jab at him too much. Mitch Raposo kind of just, like, skirting on the outside, hitting the better strikes, and then kind of just staying safe and not getting hit by Alan Nascimento. Alan Nascimento wasn't really able to get anything like super damaging, and you know, Mitch Raposo gets this done. So pretty impressive. But we go on. Bia Mesquita almost I was surprised. I did not expect Bia Mesquita to almost get knocked out. And yeah, she almost got knocked out by Melissa Mullins. Let me just say this. Melissa Mullins, what are you doing? Like, no offense, this is Michael Chandler level IQ. Like, this is even worse IQ than Michael Chandler. For some reason, Melissa, okay, you are, okay, you're in the UFC, right? You're in the UFC. Melissa Mullins, you are striking with Bia Mesquita. You rock her bad. And then you kind of, like, get into it and take... where you end up on the ground with Bia Mosquito. And instead of opting to try to just back away, just back out, try to get Bia Mosquito to get it back up on her feet so then you can continue striking with this girl that, you just rocked her. You just almost had her out on her feet. And you decide to stay on the ground with Bia Mosquito, who is quite literally one of the most accomplished grapplers in BJJ, like, for the women. One of the most accomplished grapplers. One of the most accomplished, who all of her wins, all of her finishes are by sub. She has all these subs. Everyone's saying that she's this great fighter in the women's bantamweight division because of her jiu-jitsu. And she world champion. She's all these things, all this experience on the ground. And you had to rock down the feet, and you decide to just stay on the ground with her and try to enact. Like, what were you doing? What were you doing? I'm glad it happened because I picked Bia Mosquito and I want to see her move forward in the division. But like, what was that? What was that? What IQ? Sometimes I really question what fighters really think about during fights. If I go into a fight against this crazy good BJJ person that isn't, it's not like Bia Mosquito is this like crazy wrestler who can just take you down at any time. Obviously she can get takedowns, but she's not this crazy wrestler. If I was facing someone who is this crazy BJJ person and I rock them on the feet, I'm not following them down and staying on the ground with them. I'm getting up as soon as possible. What are you talking about? I don't care if I'm a black belt. If this person is a world champion in jiu-jitsu, I'm not gonna get on the ground with this world champion in jiu-jitsu. But anyways, yeah, Bia Mosquito, her striking looked really shaky in this fight. I don't know how she'll hold up, because again, like her BJ, like if it gets to the ground, she'll really destroy her opponents. If it stays on the feet and she can't get a takedown or anything, it really worries me for like the future of the, like, if she goes against any of these heavy strikers, any of these like really good strikers in the women's bantamweight division. Her striking did not look that good. It did not look that good, and she got rocked really badly. So, gotta watch out for that. Depending on who her next matchup is, if it's someone like longer and lengthier, who's a like decent striker, I don't know. I might not be able to pick her, but again, her grappling is very, very good. So it was great to see the submission. Like, she set it up really well. And again, I don't know what Melissa Mullins was doing. I don't care if you're a black belt in BJJ. If you're going against someone who is like world championship level, why would you even try to opt for going on the ground and taking the most, like, this is the path of most resistance. But anyways, moving on, Andre Lima, like, what? This fight, like, you can just see, minus 700. Andre Lima loses. Undefeated fighter. This is the year of the upsets. This is the year of the undefeated fighters losing. Hamzat, Ilya, Andre Lima. This had me worried for Sterling, which we'll go over that in a second. Andre Lima loses to Kevin Borjas, a guy that's like, what was he, like 1-4 in the UFC or something like that? That is crazy. And I know, like, all the people that Kevin Borjas is going up against, but Andre Lima, he was an undefeated fighter with like a decent finish rate, and he loses. And it's crazy because he had Kevin Borjas like backed up against the fence the entire time. It was like Andre Lima was just way too patient and just didn't throw enough. I feel like he just didn't really commit too much to kind of capitalizing on how he backed Kevin Borjas against the fence, because he had him up against the fence almost the entire fight, but he wasn't really able to capitalize on it to where he was really beating up Kevin Borjas. And then there was a point in the fight where he gets a bad nut shot, and Kevin Borjas, I think he kind of played it up. That entire 5 minutes to get that rest, because right after they say like, oh, you're good, everything, and then he's just like bouncing up and down like nothing, and he looks completely fine. And this isn't a situation to where, oh, he's bouncing up and down, but then he kind of like reaches down somewhere in the middle of the fight, or he reaches down after the round's over. No, he looks completely fine. And right before he was still like wincing in pain as if it was still hurting him. So yeah, I think he kind of played it up. But hey, that's smart. If you get hit in the balls, you got 5 minutes to recover. Yeah, Andre Lima, he just wasn't able to get off. He just was not able to get off with his striking. He got rocked in the first round pretty bad by Kevin Borjas. And yeah, Kevin Borjas was just able to find the better strikes with his boxing. And Lima just, again, he wasn't able to really get off anything damaging on Kevin Borjas. Borjas was able to stay pretty safe. Really great win win for Kevin Borjas. This is a really good break for him because, you know, his record in the UFC hasn't been the best, but to win as an underdog this big against Andre Lima, who is an undefeated fighter, is really good for Kevin Borjas. Congratulations on that, because a really big upset, really good performance. Moving onwards past the prelims, this was fight of the night for me. This was fight of the night. Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. Andre Touchy Fili. I love Andre Fili, and Vinicius Oliveira is sick. Vinicius Oliveira is sick. I love his style. His striking, I just love it. It's literally like a Bobby Green type style. He just keeps his arms low. And his head movement is great, just like Bobby Green. This is the Bobby Green of the featherweight division. Well, now that he's in featherweight, obviously he was in a different weight class before, but now that he's in featherweight, this is the Bobby Green of the featherweight division. He was throwing crazy big strikes. He was trying to counter strike a lot of the time. He was trying to bait Andre Fili into striking with him so that he could counter strike, and it didn't really work out too well. Andre Fili was definitely trying to not overextend. He was definitely trying to stay safe. He wasn't getting drawn in by Oliveira, kind of taunting at him and trying to get him to strike first. Andre Fili was really precise with what he was doing. It was nasty. I thought Oliveira was over in the first round, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way I'm getting all these picks wrong. Oliveira, he was getting hurt bad in the first round because of the leg kicks, and the same thing happened with Ricky Simón, where he throws a leg kick, it gets checked, and it really hurt him, and that happened a lot in this fight, actually. I think he got his leg hurt maybe 4 or 5 times by leg checks from Andre Fili. And then Andre Fili had a nasty body shot, a nasty body kick. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way it's going to be over for Oliveira. Because he hit him with the body kick so perfectly right on the liver. And you could see Oliveira just instantly, he was gritting down. You could see the wince in his face. And then Andre Fili hits him with another brutal kick. And you can see the pain, and Oliveira's screaming, and he was backing away and trying to just like fight it. It was literally like Merab against Piotr Jan when he got hit with those body shots, those body kicks. The fact that Oliveira didn't drop from those shots that were perfectly placed, it was crazy. And I thought Andre was gonna go for that kick more. Never went to it again. I don't know why he didn't do that. But Vinicius Oliveira comes back in the second round and just like he starts going Matrix mode, just dodging everything from Andre Fili and hitting him with some nasty shots, some nasty body work. And he gets his leg checked again, which, you know, it hurts him again. It makes him switch stances for a second. I believe he switched stances at least. But I was really worried that he was just going to, like, lose to leg checks. But he continued onward, just, like, powered through it. And boom, hit Andre Fili with this crazy combination with some elbows, which were back of the head. It looked... I couldn't see all of them. It looked like one of them hit the side of the head where, you know, Herb Dean, and who would have guessed Herb Dean was the referee for this one. But Herb Dean, you know, that's the area that he says that is fine to hit. So I believe one of the elbows that I believe caused the cut on Andre Fili was on the part that was safe. But I don't know about the rest of the shots. I would have to rewatch the fight. So that puts kind of an asterisk on this performance. But other than that, he was doing really well against Andre Fili in that second round. Made a really good comeback. His striking is so fun to watch. I love watching his striking. I cannot wait to see him strike against these other guys in the division. And you never know what can happen with those leg checks. Like I'm really worried now that this is the second fight that this has been happening to him. Moving onward, Melsik Bagdasaryan got bodied in this fight. This fight was over quickly. Murtazali Magomedov pulled off a twister in his debut against Melsik Bagdasaryan. To get a twister on your debut is insane. And this guy has a 100% finish rate. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this guy has in store. And it's not only submissions, he has knockouts too. Before this fight, he had 5 knockouts and 5 submissions. And with this, his first fight in the UFC, he gets a twister. Not much to talk about other than the hype for this guy is real, and I cannot wait to see what he does next, because that was nasty work. That was nasty work. But moving onward, Haider Emil got This was the craziest slime out of all time. Bro, Christian Rodriguez, where was this against, who did he lose to? Or Erosa. How did Christian Rodriguez, like, I don't understand. How does this guy lose to Erosa? And it's not that, like, Haider Emil is this crazy fighter, but it's like, you're losing to Erosa like that? Also, check the posture. He kind of got that turtleneck going on. Anyways, my bad. He had a nasty, he was setting this head kick up the entire time. And then finally, boom! Chin right on the cheek, right on the face of Haider Emil. Just boom! And Haider Emil, I would swear this guy was out cold. But he actually wasn't. Somehow he survived the kick. But then Christian Rodriguez, like right after this nasty head kick that destroys Haider Emil, he just grabs onto a guillotine and chokes Haider Emil out cold. It was so nasty. It was like Christian Rodriguez looked so good in this fight. It wasn't even close. I know it says the total strikes are equal. It wasn't even close. He looked so much better than Haider Emil. I'm hoping he goes on a run now. I'm hoping he goes on a run because this was a crazy slime out. I did not expect this from Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez was moving like King Von against Haider Emil. That was crazy, and I made a post about that on my Instagram. You know, go follow my Instagram. But no, we move on. There was nothing else left to say. The first round, it was just Christian Rodriguez gauging the distance really well. He wasn't really getting hit with anything that had any impact whatsoever. Nothing that was really rocking him. Nothing that really hurt him at all. And he was just picking some really nice shots against Haider Emil and setting up that head kick that he obviously landed eventually. But moving onward, Ian Cutelaba, he loses to Navajo Sterling via gas tank depletion. That's right. Navajo Sterling wins this fight by having a better gas tank than Ian Cutelaba. And literally, I was so worried because when I saw Ian Cutelaba get the guillotine in the first round, and I was literally like thinking like, oh my goodness, you know, Lima just lost his 0. All these fighters are losing their 0. I cannot watch Navajo Sterling lose this 0. Because I've been a fan of Navajo Sterling since his first fight in the UFC, and I really like his style. And I did not want him to lose. I did not want this another prospect to lose. Props to Sterling. His scrambling and his ability to just get out of the positions and be calm, it was really, really impressive because Ian Cutelaba, he has some nasty submissions. You know, we saw his last fight with Umar Sy where he completely destroyed Umar Sy with his submission. And Navajo Sterling, he kind of put himself into a guillotine, which Ian Cutelaba, you could see that he was really working that guillotine hard. But Navajo Sterling was able to survive and make it past the first round. And Ian Cutelaba, he had other moments where he tried submissions. You know, I think he tried a Kimura, I believe, and some other ones. I don't know why it says only one submission here, but because he tried multiple. But Navajo Sterling, he just kept reversing him, kept surviving the grappling positions, and when it was on the feet, he was jabbing him up. He was hitting him with some nasty elbows when he got into range with Ian Cutelaba. Ian Cutelaba, he empties the gas tank with all of this grappling and all of these submission attempts. And Navajo Sterling, you know, the pressure, he had the better striking, all the reversing, was able to get on top of Cutelaba against the fence and just started teeing off. And Cutelaba, he kind of just gave up. He was super tired from all the takedowns and all the submission attempts and all the grappling and being reversed and still being, you know, out damaged with the striking.
Nope.
And he just gave up. He was done with, you could see. And Navajo Sterling just hits him with some nasty elbows, hits him with some nasty ground and pound, and that's the end. Navajo Sterling gets the win. My boy Navajo Sterling. Let's go. Let's go. I really want him to get into the top 15. He's definitely one of the prospects I've been keeping my eye on more, and I'm wanting to do better because I just really like his striking style. I really like the way he fights. So hopefully he goes far. I'm hoping. There's a lot to be learned. There's a lot to be desired, but I can still see it. And moving on to the final. Manel Kape, just come on now. Just are we gonna Kyoji was doing so good. He was doing so good. Where I have nothing to say, man. Manel Kape. I didn't want him to win. I did not want him to win. And I obviously picked Kyoji Horiguchi because I thought he had the ability. And he does. He was literally doing so well, and he was literally winning the fight. I'm not going to, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think Kyoji Horiguchi, he could have gotten it done. He could have gotten it done if he just stuck to what he was doing. But instead, what happened was he went in and went for a 3-punch combination, And that third punch left him open for Manel Kape to just clip him. And that was all that's all Manel Kape needs because of his power. You know, you can be like better than him. You can be better. Like Kyoji Horiguchi, I 100% am of the mind that he was technically better than Manel Kape. You know, he was doing better than Manel Kape. He was hitting Manel Kape with some nasty strikes, doing really good with his feints. He obviously is the better grappler. And Manel Kape he just has that power factor. And that really said, and I know it's the same can be said for like any power puncher, like, oh, they're not as technically as good as these other fighters. And I'm not saying that Manel Kape is like bad fighter. Like obviously Manel Kape is elite, and he's one of the best fighters in the division. Man, it just really sucks that Kyoji was doing so well. Dominated the second round. I had him winning the first round. He was winning the third round handedly. And he just extended his combination too far. I thought he could have kept cruising and doing really well and won the fight because he was doing so well, and he even cracked Manel Kape in this fight. He rocked Manel Kape. If he would have kept that up, if he would have kept trying to be elusive, you know, kept trying to stay at distance and, you know, again, feints, feint the takedown, eventually go for the takedown again. He was doing so well. If he would have just kept doing that, but then he just extended his combination too much. I think he was just feeling himself too much, maybe. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he just made a mistake just, like, extending the combination too far, and Manel Kape just caught him. Really worries me for when he fights against Joshua Vaughn or, you know, Pantoja, which I mean, Pantoja has, like, this iron chin, so I'm less worried for Pantoja. He's definitely on some, come on now. He has, we know what he has. We know, and he also has, like, back acne. Like, where was this a few years back? Like, we obviously know he's on something, but this sucks. The big Gooch. Big Gooch, you're doing so good. I love calling him Big Gooch. That's a perfect nickname. And I think it would have been such a sick stylistic matchup to see, you know, him against Vaughn or him against Pantoja compared to, like, you know, Manel Kape. Like, we've already seen him against Pantoja, and obviously he's gotten better since then. But I really rather see Kyoji Horiguchi. I'm not even breaking this fight down. It's just me saying I really wanted Gooch to win. Again, you know, Gooch was doing really good, mixing up the feints. He hit some nice body kicks in the first round. He was doing good with the feints. He was staying really loose. He was very, very fast. Doing really good with entering in and then getting out before Manel Kape could really capitalize on anything. He was doing good with mixing in the takedowns, getting Kape to react to the takedowns really heavily. But ultimately, the power and the fact that, you know, Kyoji Horiguchi, it's not like he has the craziest chin imaginable. And Manel Kape, I'm not going to say he looked horrible this fight either. Even though Kyoji Horiguchi was doing super, super well, he still got some decent strikes off on Kyoji Horiguchi. Again, the first round, he kind of stumbled Kyoji a little bit, and he did really well in the first round. He was able to clip Kyoji Horiguchi as soon as he saw an opening when he was extending his combination, and Manel Kape, really, really elite. I didn't record this video until a few days after the fight. Most likely the day I will be posting this is the day I recorded it, so, you know. Anyways, that's where I will leave this off. If you enjoyed this video, take down that like button, ground and pound that subscribe button, and, you know, use your gyno powers to knock out that comment section and let me know what you thought about this fight and all of that, you know. Same old, just let me know whatever you want me to know. Let me know, you know what I'm saying? What am I even saying right now? What am I even saying? Let me end the video. See y'all in the next video. Peace.